My name is Stephanie Pryor. I've been teaching in Chicago Heights School District for 8 years now, and I recently made the switch over to the STEM Academy where I teach 7th grade writing and 7th and 8th grade foreign language. On my commute to work every day, I pass Accelerate Indoor Speedway, and from the minute that I found out that it was going to be an indoor go-karting track, I not only A, wanted to go there myself, but B, wanted to figure out a way how I can get my students there on a field trip. As most of us know, you can't just go on a field trip because it seems cool. It has to be tied in to standards and be academically aligned. The program that we decided to create is Common Core Standards aligned and Next Generation Science Standards aligned. So it's very easy for teachers to justify taking their 3rd through 8th graders on this field trip.
I think the Accelerate Indoor Speedway STEM Academy is different for our students strictly because it's something new that they're not used to. If you go to a museum, that's good too. If you go to the zoo, there's a learning experience. But what's great about the Accelerate Indoor STEM Academy in the Speedway is once they go through the classroom, they can actually take that knowledge and apply it directly when they're driving the go-kart. And we've noticed because of that, each lap that they usually take got better and better. Their driving skills improved because what they're doing is they're taking all that teacher knowledge, the classroom knowledge, and they're applying it directly. So it's helped the students with a hands-on experience. I think it's also affected us as the teachers because we're actually seeing that aha moment a lot faster than when you go to a normal field trip.
One of the biggest challenges that we had when we were trying to create this program, as most teachers have, is having so much information that you can teach them between science, mathematics, the engineering, the language arts and vocabulary end of things. We wanted to also keep it concise. So deciding which elements we really wanted to focus on in a 30-minute time slot was one of the biggest challenges. So instead of covering a huge amount of science elements in the presentation, we picked about 6 of the main biggest components of go-karting, and we really dug deep with the information that we think the students can learn, connect to, and apply once they get into those go-karts on the track.
Okay, the Accelerate field trip was different from my professional perspective because one, I helped create a program for this amazing business to help students try their best to understand how something fun is connected to science. I am a science teacher. I love science. The students have units every year with Newton's laws, acceleration, speed, gravity, friction. So for them to actually apply the knowledge they've learned in class is really cool, and then they had a very fun time doing that.
The experience that we've had so far working with Accelerate has been absolutely wonderful. The past 4 years that I have been in STEM, we've really focused on trying to involve the kids in a lot of field trips, mainly because we hone in on this hands-on learning experience. By far, our Accelerate field trip has been the students' favorite field trip and ours as educators. And I believe I speak on behalf of all of our staff. The students were able to learn the material beforehand and then take what they learn and really apply it on the racetrack. In particular, it was extremely beneficial for students who are a little bit more quieter in the class to shine in the kinesthetics area of the field trip, where they were able to get into an actual race car and speed around the racetrack and apply what they learned. They really enjoyed themselves. The other thing that I really appreciated when it came to getting the kids there and making sure that their time was filled so nicely with just the different aspects of the field trip. I've never really taken the kids somewhere where I received a schedule and there was specific time slots. We knew exactly where we had to be at what time, and there was no dead time. So the students went from the lesson straight to the next part of the field trip, which was learning about the different pieces of the go-kart, then spending some time getting a little energy out at the arcade, And the kids really appreciated that, just kind of the flow of the field trip, learning about the safety, then getting in, applying everything that they learned.
One of the most interesting aspects of the field trip was seeing kids' reaction as they learned about cars. A lot of them don't know a whole lot about cars, and they were able to understand how brakes worked, and how the batteries work, and how the cars were put together. This is so different from probably any experience they've had or any of us have had, considering that all the go-karts we used to race, play with when we were kids were gas-powered and pretty rickety. These are extremely stable, high-tech, battery-powered, very fast. And one of the things that surprised me the most was the reaction to how fast they were going. And how they were able to apply the knowledge they learned about the vehicles themselves to the raceway.
Something else that is really appealing to teachers is that usually before a field trip you have to have some type of lesson that you teach the kids in the classroom before going to the field trip, which you can absolutely do for this field trip also. But if you don't have time, since time is always a huge issue within the classroom, you can just go into this field trip cold turkey, and the students will either connect to things that they previously learned, or they will come back from the field trip with brand new information that they can apply to future lessons that they'll have at school.
My final thoughts on the field trip would be to rate it an A+. All of the teachers had an amazing time, but most importantly, all of our students had an amazing time. The staff at Accelerate were very helpful. We had schedules and rotations that went very smoothly. The food was great, the experience was great. I think any teacher who brings their students here will have a real connection between the science behind racing and then the fun of racing. So I highly recommend this field trip.